second tutorial today is I have my Photoshop open. You can use any image editing software for this, as long as it'll allow alpha values. You need a transparent background. So I'm going to make mine 64 by 64. It's larger than it'll actually be on the screen, which is fine. This is going to be our targeting reticle. That's what we're doing, is making the file for that. So it's going to be a PNG. You can use JPEG, a couple others as well. I just stick to PNGs because they're tiny, compact. Let's see, let's do this. Easiest way to do this is just to make a basic circle, and that works pretty well. If you want to do something a little bit more design oriented or advanced, I guess, I'm going to do something like this. This is going to be kind of like a half moon here. We'll call that the eclipse shape there. And I'm going to apply my transformation. Okay. I'm going to make it, let's make it green. Okay. And you don't have to do this, but on mine I'm going to take the opacity down a little bit, just so you can kind of see that it's a little bit translucent. So we'll go ahead and hit save as. I'm going to save it on my desktop so I can grab it easy. Don't recommend doing that. Your desktop will fill up quickly. Call it Reticle. Save. Yes. Okay. So I'm done with Photoshop. I'm going to close that because it does use a lot of my memory. Oops, I wanted to hit no. Bring this back up. I'm going to go into here in my GFX, and this I'm going to pull in. Now I want to make sure that under the inspector settings that I'm importing it as a sprite. Okay, and then when I hit apply, you'll see the transparency appear. Alright, so I'm still in my Unity here. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my empty scripts folder that we created in the last video. I'm going to go to create C# script, and I'm going to call this HUD. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and start opening that up now. It is going to take a minute to open. Just got to open my Visual Studio. Quick run through the process. What we're going to do here, we're going to create an empty object. Okay. That is going to have our HUD script attached to it, and our HUD script will contain the texture that we're going to be using, and all of our location data and the XY value as to where to place it, as well as the height and the width. This will be done using OnGUI. OnGUI is a method that's not really deprecated, but it's not really used in deployment, really only for development, so you can mock up interfaces and things like that. There is another way to do it, and I will show you that way as well, but this is the way that I've always done it until I learned the right way to do it. So I'm going to show you this way first. It's kind of quick and dirty, and then I'll show you the right way, and we should be able to get that all done in about the next 10 minutes here, so bear with me. It's loading. Sometimes it takes forever. You can see all this other crap I got opening. It seems to be opening project 0 of 3. I don't know why it's opening 3 projects. While we're just sitting here, we can go back into, it's mostly open now, so we can, oh, it's still not going to let us create our empty object. Basically, if you don't know what a reticle is, it's used in targeting systems. It's part of your HUD that's used to orient basically the center of the screen. So it's going to be a dot or a targeting reticle, basically. It looks something like a scope that tells you what you're pointing at. In some games, in a lot of games, you'll use that not actually to raycast, but as a representation of where your camera is raycasting to, so you can see what your character is looking at to, say, interact with objects and stuff like that. Alright, we're finally open here. I'm going to go ahead and just add, come on, test of the day, Junior. Okay, public texture, nope, 2D Reddit. Okay, so right now that's not doing anything. Okay, this is basically our where we're declaring our variable. I could go in and use my resources folder like I told you about to grab that, but instead I'm going to drop it in because I use this public access identifier, so I should be able to see it in the inspector and just plop it right in. The only other thing we need to do in here is go to the bottom of our class here, and we're going to add the onGUI method. Okay. You can't call this method from update or anywhere else. It gets called separately, and you can only call GUI methods from inside the main GUI method. So if you're going to interact with the GUI, it has to be in here or a sub method of this method. It is coming out private. That's not a big deal because this class is going to be the one calling it. And what I want to do is GUI.draw texture. Okay. I'm going to put in the texture, which in this case is my variable, Reticle. And that actually is the second argument. The first argument is going to be new rect. Okay. Screen dot width divided by 2. Okay, that's going to be the center of our screen. That's the X value of our rectangle. Our Y value, how far down it's going to go, is going to be screen height divided by 2. We're going to go ahead and make our width be 16 and our height be 16. Okay, so this will start drawing at the exact center of our screen. The width divided by 2 and the height divided by 2, and it'll draw a rectangle that's 16 by 16. So it's going to start in the middle and draw down in this direction, which is not necessarily what we want because that's not exactly centered. So what we're going to do is take away half of both of these values in our initial placement. So I'm going to say -8 and -8. Now, our image is 64 by 64. This is going to shrink it down to 16 by 16. Downscaling an image, you don't really have any loss. I couldn't say take a 16 by 16 image and upscale it to 64 without losing some of the picture quality and the image becoming pixelated. I have no conditions set on this. It's going to draw every time the UI draws. So I'm going to go ahead, hit File, Save All, and go back into Unity, and we need to create our empty objects in our scene. Okay, I'm going to rename this, and I'm going to name this HUD as well so we know which object we have attached to it. I'll use all capitals there so there's some distinction, and I'll drop that in. Now I'm getting an error down here that's telling me I'm missing a semicolon somewhere, and that's going to be right here. Okay, so now we'll save that again. Simple error, happens all the time. This should go away. There we go, it's gone. And now I'm in HUD, and you can see I have this slot here for my public texture 2D. So I'm really hoping it'll let me drop this in here even though I loaded it as a sprite, because it's been a little while since I did this. So yeah, there we go. Okay, so as you can see, nothing's showing up on the screen yet. Okay, we do have a little representation of our reticle here. What I can do is this, when I hit play, it's going to call that onGUI method repeatedly, and you can see I have my little reticle there pointed at the center of the screen. So if this was a first-person shooter, I could click my mouse and fire bullets at that. like I said, using a raycast. If it was a puzzle game, I could use that to identify what object I'm looking at. We'll get into raycasts a little bit later, but if I were going to detect objects, I put a distance into the raycast, and it would basically, if I walked up to something within 3 meters and looked at it, it would give me a description or something like that, the option to click on it. That's it as far as the on GUI method of doing this. I'm going to show you one more method of doing this, so we're going to go ahead and take that out, and I'm going to add a UI canvas. Okay. With that canvas, I'm going to go ahead and right click on it, and I'm going to go back under UI, and I'm going to add an image. Right now the image is empty, so I'm going to grab my sprite once again, drag it over here to the inspector where it says source image. Now I have it showing up here. Zoom out and find my canvas. Yeah, it's right in the middle. Okay. There we go. Use too many programs, I forget the buttons. So, as you can see, this is going to show up on our camera, in our main camera view. It's not showing up yet. What we want to do is we want to go to Canvas, Screen Space Overlay. We're going to do Screen Space Camera. Okay. I think I'm still missing something. Let's see. Nope, there it is, and it's way too big. It's that 64 by 64 size because I haven't downsized it at all. So what I can do is go into here, go into image. Oh, it's actually 100 by 100. So let's do 16 by 16. Okay, and it's already automatically centered, and it's centered because I'm using the anchor here for the rect transform as middle. Let's hit play one more time. Okay, and that's how you do that. This way involves no code. Like I said, I wanted to get into a little bit of code in this video, but if you think about it and if you read through the documentation, the proper way to do it is to actually do it the second way and use the canvas and the UI. The nice thing about the canvas is you can make canvas prefabs. Say you have a death screen where a screen pops up and says you died, you got this many points, click X to continue. You can make that screen one time, put it into your prefab folder, and then in the method where you die, you can have that screen pop up, and then it'll destroy that screen. So it's not always in the it's basically not always active and in the way using up memory in the scene. It's an easy way to create and destroy objects without having to go to a separate scene for each part of the UI or other such ridiculous man. I'll tell you a horror story. When I was first starting out, I began Android development and I was doing Java, and what I would do is basically a switch case without the switch case. Okay, I would do an if-else that was about 20 miles long, saying if screen number is this, then draw this on the canvas, and then that would be like 2 pages of crap to draw on the canvas. This was when I was just starting out. You'll notice a lot of tips and tricks that you pick up along the way as you're coding are things that you can only learn by doing it the wrong way and finding out that you're doing it wrong. So I love Unity. It's great for experimentation and playing around. I think in the next tutorial, we'll throw in a couple more elements to the UI and then maybe add some sort of shooting mechanism. So leave some comments down below about where you'd like to see this go. If there's anything you'd like to know, you can definitely drop those in the comments as well. Really looking to get some subscribers, guys, so hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate it. Likes are always good too, and then if you hit that notification button, hit that bell, we'll get you updated with all of our new videos as they come out. So this has been another Technivore tutorial in Unity 3D. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll catch you later.